Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Ayana Grace, and I'm so sorry, but I have been gone for a long time, and it has just been a roller coaster for the last few weeks, actually for the last few months, but really for the last few weeks. And I have just been so stressed out and just so unmotivated and just have so much stuff going on. So I feel like, if for those of you who watch my videos, for those of you who look forward to seeing my videos every week, I just wanted to give you guys a life update and do a quick makeup look just to let you know what's been going on with me, why I've been going for so long, and hopefully to get your, prayers and wishes and positivity. Y'all just spread it in my comments and just let me know. So I am doing a get ready with me, and that means that I am starting off with a bare face, but I did just go ahead and do my brows just because to be honest, I don't feel like editing my brows because that part of the video always takes so long, so I just got that out of the way. So if you are interested to see what makeup I'm gonna do, what's been going on with my life, you want to update, you want to talk to me, you want to be friends, blah blah blah, stay tuned for the rest of the video. Alright guys, so I am gonna start off with my Fenty Beauty Instant Retouch Concealer and just cover up some dark spots that I'm having. I did have some bad acne. I always, during my cycle, I always break out in the same exact place on my cheeks. I literally have a cluster of dark marks right here because it always happens on my cheeks, which really sucks, but what can you do? So let's just get started. So where do I begin with life, guys? My wedding planning is literally crashing before my eyes. So one of the biggest things for me is I don't know if you guys ever plan a wedding, but one thing I am going to tell you, for any of my ladies or gentlemen that decides to get married, if you can do it, if you can afford it, if you have the money and the leeway, hire a wedding planner. It is literally one of the most useful things you will ever do. Trust me, I'm saving you a lot of stress and heartache with this advice. Hire a wedding planner, because you never realize, or I didn't realize. Now, I don't have anybody that is recently married in my family. And, my parents got married 30 years ago, but out of the young people or even a little bit older, I don't know anybody that's not that has gotten married, because I do know family members or friends that have gotten married, but that has had a wedding. So I was all new to it. My parents, all their information outdated. They don't know anything. So we have the wedding planning all on me. And because I am very tight budget, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna do it myself. And who needs a wedding planner? Why would I need that, right? Wrong. The foundation I am going to be used is the Fenty Eavesdrop blurring skin tint in the color 21. Love this. Perfect for summertime, all that good stuff. So yeah, I had a lot of issues as far as just finding a venue and just even knowing where to start. But where the drama started was my caterer. So the catering for me is the biggest chunk of my budget. The catering literally is you know, because you have to feed people. And usually, which is so crazy to me because I never knew that it would cost so much to feed people, because like when you go out to eat, how often do you go to restaurants and like you spend $60 a plate? I don't know any restaurant that like I spend $60 a person, but apparently that's what caterers charge. I don't understand that. So I found like a cool caterer. Somebody recommended it to my mom, and I'm like, boom, this is amazing. This is great, right? Because her price was like $18 a person. $18 a person is like literally I want to kiss you. It's so amazing. It was the cheapest thing I ever found. So I'm like, okay. And then she was black. I did have this thing where I wanted to do all black vendors, like support my people, you know, have a good, you know, black empowerment wedding, and then be able to like tell my kids and my family like, hey, yeah, I had all black vendors for my wedding. But sometimes my people don't do right. Okay. So we get this caterer, we get her, and we're going to do a tasting. So the first tasting, this is before she like wrote up the contract, because thank God I was like, oh, you know, I'm going to like taste the food before I pay any money. I'm so smart, right? I didn't pay a deposit or anything. I was just like, I'm not giving you a dime until I taste the food. So she's like, okay, cool. She comes, she's like, oh, I'll meet you guys at your house and we'll do the tasting. Okay, sounds good, right? She gets to my house and she has no food. And we're like, what? Isn't this supposed to be like a tasting? I don't understand. And she's like, yeah, well, you know, I had some issues. I am going to be concealing under my eyes and like all these areas that I want to highlight with the Fenty concealer also. So yeah, so I'm like, okay, and why don't you have any food? She's like, oh, well, I had some family issues, and you know, I wasn't able to get the food, but I just wanted to come, and so you can meet me and I can meet you and we can do all this stuff. And I'm like, okay, that's understandable. COVID is still a thing this year, even though everybody believes it's not. So I'm like, oh, great, that'll be fine. Well, we're like, okay, so my wedding, if you don't know, is in Georgia, and I live in Michigan. So it's really hard to just, I'm pretty sure I've flown to Georgia maybe like 20 times already this year. So it's really hard. So I'm like, okay, well, I won't be back until June. Can you do June for us to do the tasting? Still haven't paid anything yet. And so she sends me the contract, and in the contract it says the like deposit needs to be done by May. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to pay you by May because you came with no food. Understandable, you had a situation, but you need to adjust because you were the problem. Well, she had a little attitude about it. And like, I'm messaging her and I'm like, she's like, okay, that's fine. She emails me. She's like, okay, it's good. I can do it in June. But she was a little sassy about it. I'm like, all right, okay. So June comes around and I literally booked a flight home specifically for just a weekend, specifically just to meet with the caterer and do a cake tasting with my cake baker. So calling her, like, I'm like, calling her, emailing her. I'm like, hey, just to make sure that we're still on. What time do you want to do this? You know, let's get this done so we can go ahead and sign the contract and get the ball rolling on it. Well, the entire weekend, she never responds. Like, my caterer basically fucking ghosted me. Imagine you are 6 months away from your wedding. You feel like you are finally getting a hang of things, and your caterer ghosts you for the tasting. All right, so I am going to be using the Fenty Beauty Cream Cheeks Out Bronzer to contour my face and my nose, and yeah, just my face and my nose. All right, so she ghosts me, and I'm literally about to cry because I'm like, okay, so life is over. And because of this, now I have to find a new caterer. Well, the thing is that to find a new caterer, I have to now cut my cut my guest list, because I can't find a caterer that's affordable, and now I can't afford as big of a wedding as I had. So, you know, I'm having a situation. I'm like freaking out because I have a really huge family. I don't want to cut anybody off the list, but like at this point, we literally cannot afford it. Well, I go and talk to some family, and I'm like, guys, how do I do this? Well, get into like a big emotional like blowout with some family members, and that literally hurt my heart. So now I'm like, okay, my wedding's like crashing around me. My family hates me, and like it is like my life is over because, you know, I'm dramatic, and why wouldn't I think that my life is over? So we're doing that. I get home, finally, not speaking to my family members. I'm like crying every day. I'm going through like a serious depression because I think that like, I'm like, why me? Why is everything like crumbling around me? So then I get, you know, I go back. I had like a photo shoot. One of my cousins surprised me with a photo shoot. So that was like the one good thing that happened on that trip. And then I get back in town, and the day that I get back in town, the caterer texts me. And she says, I am so sorry. I had a death in the family, and I didn't know, like, I just got caught up and all this stuff. I'm over it. I'm over her. I'm over anything that has to deal with her. I'm like, no, it's a no for me. But my mom is like, and my mom's paying for the catering, so my mom's like, oh, I just feel like we should give her another chance. I like her. We had a good recommendation, and we can't find anybody that fits within our budget. So I'm like, okay, I guess we're going to give her another chance. I talk to her, give her a stern talking to, and I'm like, listen, lady, you can't do that. You should have communicated with me. I'm really sad about it, and I don't know if I can trust you. You really kind of screwed up our trust, but I'm going to give you another chance because we really like you. We like the menu and all this kind of stuff. So she's like apologetic, everything. And she calls me and she's like, okay, well, I'm going to send a new contract. And I told her, well, by this time I've cut down my guest list, and I don't feel like going back through the process of putting on a guest list. So we've decided to do a significantly smaller wedding. So I'm like, oh, and in the contract, just know that we now have a different number. So boom, everything's fine, doing good. I'm feeling like life is back on track. All this other stuff. Then I'm going through stuff with like friends and family. So I have something else I can stress about. Get to super stressed, end up in the hospital because I literally stressed my blood pressure to stroke level. I was just, it was awful. Like, I just knew I was gonna die. It was like all of this over a freaking wedding. What's the point? I hate all of this. We should just elope. Get out the hospital, and I'm like, you know what? Grow up, Ariana. Things are gonna get better. Let's not be dramatic. So everything starts falling into place. I started doing some more stuff, start doing some more wedding planning, and I'm like, you know what, we got this together. The caterer sends me a list, and she's like, oh, I'm gonna give you free hors d'oeuvres just because of the situation, and I feel so bad about it. And I'm like, cool. We get the contract, everything's fine. And then the caterer texts me, and she says to me, hey, what does your venue require for caterers? And I'm like, she was like, I didn't even get to respond, because after she sent that, she says, because I don't have a license. What? Now, the first thing I asked her when she came to my house the first time, strike one, was when we came to talk, I told her that my venue requires all of my vendors to be licensed with insurance. And she so very sassily answered, yeah, I got a license. I've been licensed for 30 years. I'm just blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, okay, you could have just answered the question, but fine. And then you come to me 7 months later, and now you don't have a license. So she just flat out lied to me. So now we're going back to spiral mode, because Ayana now does not have a caterer. I didn't even respond, because I'm like, I don't care anymore. I'm like, I can't deal with you. I had to tell my mom. I'm like, Mom, I don't care what the recommendation was. She's got 3 strikes. We're done. I'm going to set my entire face with the Fenty Beauty Pro Filter powder. So yeah, so I'm over it. I'm like, boom, you know, we're done. We're done with her. So then fast forward, I've been like going through depression. I thought my best friend hated me, so I'm like secretly beefing with her. And so finally I have to have a talk with her, and she's like, no, dude, like, I'm not beefing with you. I'm just trying to give you like your space, and like, you know, just come to me. And I'm like, well, why didn't you tell me that? And of course, crying again, because Ayana's a crier. So then I have to go through that. So I'm just stressed. Then I'm trying to figure out how to do all this stuff. Oh, by the way, I am setting my contour with the Morphe Glam Bronzer in the color Leader. And I'm just like really just sad and depressed. Still haven't found a caterer yet. So, you know, that's fun. Then I start, then got fired from my job. That's fun. Got fired. Long story. I don't even think we have enough YouTube time to tell you the story of the job. But so like I'm freaking out, trying to get on unemployment, don't have any money, loving life with that. That's just great. My fiance is like literally stressed out, trying to be a supportive husband and partner and stuff. And I know he's like, what the hell are we gonna do with you not like having a job? But he doesn't want to tell me that or whatever. So we're like, okay. So, you know, life starts. I gain about like 30 pounds when I was supposed to be on, like, not 30, but maybe like 15. While I'm supposed to be on a weight loss journey. I'm using I don't know how to pronounce this, so I'm just going to put it in front of there because y'all not finna join me. But this is a new palette that I just got in my BoxyCharm. Oh, and by the way, I just got all new brushes. These are the Morphe by Jaclyn Hill brushes, and I'm so excited about it. It's so good. So yeah, where was I? Oh yeah, so I'm like slowly killing my fiance. He goes through like a mini depression because, you know, he's fully supporting us and we're like struggling and all that good stuff. Not really struggling, y'all, but like struggling. Like hard to save, and now is like one of the members of this partnership no longer has employment or funds, couldn't get my unemployment. So, we're living life now at this point. We're just winging it. Finally, I start, like, every day, I start looking for jobs. I'm looking for employment. We are now at a position, I just use this color, and then I'm going to go in with this color right here, and then I'm going to cut my crease with a nice matte shade. So we're going through all of this, and I feel so bad because I feel like I'm just destroying my fiance. So we're now diverting anger towards each other about life, and we're fighting, and I'm like, oh my God, my marriage is gonna be over before it even starts, and my life is just falling apart. And then finally I get a call about a job, and I'm like, what? So this recruiter calls me about a job that I didn't even realize that I applied for, but it's literally an amazing engineering job, something that I have been trying to do for so long, and I finally get this opportunity. So she calls me for an interview, and I'm freaking out. I'm like, yes. I do the interview. I felt like the interview went great. I'm like, oh, they love me, blah, blah, blah. So she calls me back, and she's like, hey, they really liked you. They want to see you for a second interview. And so I'm like, okay. She's like, oh yeah, so they'll call you by the end of this week or beginning of next week to set up the second interview. And I'm like, great, that's perfect. We love it. We love that. All that good stuff. Life is finally looking up. Well, the week goes by, don't hear anything. My fiance is like, hey, just keep hope alive. Just be patient. They may have a lot of stuff. The recruiter's like, hey, I haven't heard from the employer, but we're reaching out to him. We can't get a hold of him. And I go into a whole week goes by, and I go into a deep depression because I'm like, I finally thought that I made it, and now things are going downhill. This is great for me. And now not only am I worried about my fiance drowning in our financial situation, I've also have a wedding coming up in 7 months, 5 months now. So it's now I pay all of these deposits, but I no longer have the funds to finish paying for stuff. So do I just cancel my wedding and lose out on all the money that I've spent, or do I just, thug it out or whatever? So I get really sad, and I do something really stupid that I can't say on camera just because I don't want it to come back and bite me in the ass. So I do something that could potentially jeopardize me getting a job. And then the next day, as the recruiter calls me, and she says, hey, how's your day? And I'm like, oh, it's pretty gloomy because it's raining, but it's really pretty gloomy because I'm depressed. But she doesn't know that. And she's like, oh, well, you want me to make it better? And I'm like, yeah. She's like, we got a job offer. Not, we want to call you in for the second interview. We got a job offer. We got a job offer that's paying twice the amount of money as your old job, that is literally amazing, and they want you without the second interview. And I'm freaking out. I'm like, yes. And then I realized that I made that stupid mistake, and I'm like, oh, whatever. But we get past it. Long story short, the situation got handled and I'm starting a new job. And it's just like, I know that was a lot, and I know I just really needed a vent session, and I just wanted to tell you guys, there's been so much more stuff happening, but like, I just don't want to overwhelm you guys with the craziness that is my life. But you know, some life lessons that I've learned in the past year. When you're getting married, like I said, always make sure you hire a wedding planner, because a wedding planner will save your life. But secondly, if you're getting married, you cannot let the wedding be more important than the marriage. You cannot let the wedding be more important than your sanity, more important than all the things that would normally be important to you, because it can get that way and you can slowly turn into a bridezilla and not even realize that you're being a bridezilla. I just used the House Laboratories liquid eyeliner in the color Plunk. And then I'm going to go in. This is that new blush that I was telling you guys about, that I was supposed to show you in a video after my last one, and then I just disappeared for 3 weeks. How dare I? But it is a new blush from Makeup Revolution, and it is in the color Rose Kisses. And it's just like a really, I love a good mauve blush because, I don't know, it's so girly and feminine. But yeah, so definitely when you are going through stuff like that, like really, you know, don't let it cloud your relationship with your friends and your family, and slowly become like a monster without even knowing that you're becoming a monster. And then another thing that I really learned through all of this craziness is, like, don't lose your faith just because things are getting rocky. You know, you got to keep your faith. And I don't know if y'all believe in God, but I do. And God really has brought me through a lot of this stuff. And I know I'm not done, but he's still working on me, child. And, you know, I'm working on not being so dramatic and like a basket case, but one day at a time. I'm using the Sephora Rouge Gel Lip Liner in the color Molasses. And then I'm using the Lime Crime liquid lipstick in the color Buffy. All right, guys, so I'm going to go apply some lashes off camera. I'm going to apply the Kiss Look So Natural lashes, and then I'll be back with the final look. Okay, guys, so this is the final look. Nothing too fancy, just going out for a little spontaneous, there we go, for a little spontaneous date night. So, but you guys, thank you so much for letting me vent. If you stayed the whole way through, I appreciate you. I love you, you loyal. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you guys enjoyed listening to my TED Talk about life and my crazy caterer and stuff like that. And if you want some more, just let me know, because like I got a lot more experiences like that just with wedding planning. Like it's so crazy. It's so bad for me. Anyways, but make sure you guys like, comment some love, some positive vibes, share and subscribe to my channel, but only if you want to, no pressure. And as always, make sure you stay happy, healthy, and hydrated, and I will see you guys in my next video.